go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you could please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The city of Seward abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of meeting recording processes is posted in the meeting room. The participant sign-in sheet is available for use by any citizen addressing the council. Presenters shall approach the podium, state their name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall determine by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The city of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary, and may elect to take action on any of the items listed. Please call the roll.
Logan.
Present.
Beck. Camford.
Here.
Fritz.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
Singleton. Schmidt.
Here.
Hance.
First item this evening is consideration of approval of draft minutes for December 1st, 2015.
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Logan, Camford, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carries.
Item number 2, consideration of consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Logan, Camford, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carries.
Item 3, we have 2 reappointments. We have under A, the reappointment of Jan Maskey to the Civic Center Commission for a 3-year term, and the reappointment of Charles Maskey to the Tree Board for a 3-year term. We should probably do these separate. So for 3A, the reappointment of Jan Maskey to the Civic Center Commission for a 3-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
In favor, Logan, Camford, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carries.
And for 3B,
Move approval.
Second.
the motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Logan, Camford, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carries.
Item number 4, this is a public hearing, consideration of preliminary and final plat of Underwood Commercial Edition. This is the southeast corner of South 7th Street and South Street. Due to a lack of quorum for the Planning Commission last night, we do not have a recommendation from them. So what we'll do is we'll have the public hearing, and there can be discussion, but we cannot take any action until they've been able to conclude their business. And that's the same for item number 5, which is the second public hearing. So for item number 4, John, do you want to say anything to start off?
Sure. This is basically a lot line adjustment. The only reason it's going through a preliminary and final plat is because he already had some administrative replats associated with the lots before. You can only administrative replat the same lot once. And it didn't fall under the minor plat, and so then had to do a preliminary and final plat. But basically what he's doing is he's changing the parcel line from north to south. He's got a building, and the building right now is divided left and right, and he wants to divide it front and back versus left and right.
Alright, are there any questions or discussion from the council? Otherwise, at this time, I'll open up the public hearing portion of item 4. Would any from the public like to comment on item number 4? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing portion on number 4. Unless there's any other questions or comments from the council, then we will go ahead and move on to item number 5. Seeing none. Item number 5, this is the second public hearing. This is a consideration of preliminary and final plat of Lyle and Elaine Mueller Edition, southeast corner of East Bradford Street and East Ridge Drive. John, do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, this is basically, this property that's been owned by Lyle and Elaine Mueller, and there was an existing house on the parcel. The existing parcel is a pretty good sized parcel, and the parcel that the house was on was part of a tax lot. Again, it had never been platted, and so in order to go through with the platting, it has to go through the major subdivision plat. It consists of 3 lots, one that the house is on, the adjacent lot to it, and there's Outlot A, and Outlot A has the ability to be subdivided by administrative replat into 4 lots at some later date.
Any questions or comments from the council? I'll also go ahead and open up the public hearing portion for item number 5. Would anyone from the public wish to comment on item number 5? Seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of item number 5. Unless there are any other questions or comments from the council, we'll go ahead and move on then to item number 6. Seeing none. Item number 6, consideration of awarding bid for Robert Street area distribution upgrades. And Larry, Ruther, did you wanna, or do you want Garrett? Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Garrett Klein with Olson Associates, presenting the bids that we received for the Robert Street area electrical upgrades. They were opened on December 3rd. We received 3 of them, fairly wide ranges noted in the letter: $571,000, $683,000, and $790. Recall that this was a rebid. The project, we only got 1 bid the first time around. It was by one of these same contractors, and I recall it was about $690,000 or so. At the time, working with that contractor, we could not come up with the difference between our estimate and their bid. We felt they were above what probably the project value was. They of course thought our estimate was too low. The solution was to rebid it and see how it came in. So maybe there was a little bit of both. They viewed the work the low this time as we're considering more time consuming than we thought, but obviously some significant savings from first time around. But having bid it twice and given 2 go-arounds and answering questions from the contractors, we're convinced that the bids that we have, or at least the low, is fair for what the project is. So we're recommending award of the contract to the low bidder, Schmader Electric, for $571,800. The completion date was left open for them, contractors, to propose what they could get done, and they've proposed December 31st, a little later than the other 2 contractors, presumably to fit in with the timing for other projects they have.
Okay, thank you, Garrett. Are there any questions or comments from the council? If there are none, then I'd entertain a motion to award the bid for the Robert Street area distribution upgrades.
Move to approve the bid for the upgrades for the total of $571,800 for Schmader Electric.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor: Wilken, Cantor, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt. Motion carries.
Item number 7, this is consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 1, Article 11 of the Seward City Code to retitle the article, to establish a general employees pension plan committee, and to appoint city council designated members. At this time, I believe we don't have enough of a quorum to do the suspension of the 3 readings. Is that correct? So we can still discuss this, or you can table this, or you can handle it however you want this time. It's up to the council on how you'd like to proceed. You need to have 6, and that's why we don't have enough.
I make a motion we table since we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
In favor: Wilken, Cantor, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt. Motion carries.
Alright, item number 8, consideration of a resolution establishing developer and builder or homeowner construction fees. John, do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah. Basically, we redid this resolution as a consequence of conflicting nomenclature. The electric department has a aid to construction manual that they use. They use it basically to tell people how close they can build to the transformers and the fences and putting the conduit in. And basically, it's the actual building of the lots. They also use it to establish the rates of entering into a transformer city contract. When we did this resolution at the time, we weren't charging anything for service agreements going into a house or into a commercial. And so what we did is we established developer fees, which put a price tag on the lot, because also at that time, we had quite a few different subdivisions that were being filled up with transformers, and there was a long payback on when people were actually moving in, because you never knew if this guy wanted lot 3 or lot 7 or lot 8, so we just established all the transformers. So we put a fee of $400 per lot to help pay for that transformer installation, plus $4 per foot. This didn't change a bit. What we did change is the bad part about this resolution is it was called an aid to construction. And so we're getting some contractors that were doing, especially when they were doing commercial properties. We were the building department was hitting up with aid to construction for the lots and whatever, and then the electric department was hitting them up with another aid to construction, so they thought they were getting double dipped. So the intent of this one is we changed the name from aid to construction to developer and builder homeowner construction fees. And in the process of that, we did have a commercial fee for commercial services at $400, and yet we were charging the building and the homeowners basically $100 per 100 amps. And I thought it was just easier, since commercially sometimes we get up to 1,200 amp services, that they should be paying $100 per amp, 100 amps as well. So I took out the commercial fee of $400, added the line at the bottom of the builder and homeowners fees, basically $100 per each additional 100 amps service or a fraction thereof. And that's basically the gist of the resolution.
Okay, thanks, John. Any questions or comments from the council? Basically, this is just to clarify there are 2 separate aid to construction fees, and this is what each one it represents, just to clarify.
That would be it.
All right, thank you. Unless there's any questions or comments, I would ask someone to introduce the resolution.
I'll introduce it.
All right, the resolution has been introduced and is designated as resolution number 2015-25. Would anyone like to move that this resolution be passed and adopted?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
All in favor, Wilson, Campbell, Briggs, Pike, Schmidt, motion carries.
All right. Thank you. Item number 9, consideration of naming the golf course. And Bruce can talk about this as well, but basically we've been referring to it internally as the Seward Community Golf Course because we needed to have something to call it. The assumption is that it would no longer be referred to as the Seward Country Club. Beyond that, we really doesn't matter what you want to call it. We just have to have a name because eventually we'll need to put up signage on the property, and we need to have that reflected in websites and other things that are going to ask for the name of the property or the name of the golf course. From what we've heard from members and especially board members, they said that they had also considered a name change at one time. I think part of the reason to go away from the country club is just to make sure that people, even if you're driving by, would understand that it's a public course and anyone can go play. So what does that mean for a name? You know, public, community, municipal, or whatever else you can come up with. something along those lines is what we would recommend, just for that, clarification. And I'll just open it up to that. I don't know, what you all think? You don't have to have a decision tonight. I mean, it's not like the signs aren't ordered or anything, but we just need to know, moving forward. And obviously, we haven't even finalized the purchase agreement yet, but, we do just need to have some guidance and direction, because it's gonna come up, and we're gonna have to start promoting it at some point. So, I feel like, whichever one, whatever you wanna do, I'll leave it up to you guys to figure out if you have any ideas. Or you can just think about it and we can discuss it at a later meeting, but we need to be moving in that direction to something. Can't just call it the thing.
I think Seward community makes it sound like it's the whole area involved rather than just, like Seward. It's, if it's just Seward, it sounds more private. I think Seward community is a good suggestion anyway.
I like that as well.
Bruce,
golfers.
Yeah. You, at both Kimball and Ogallala, you had city courses, right, or at least one of those?
Just at Kimball.
At Kimball, what, from the,
They called it four winds, because the wind blows all the time out there, from every direction, but
then they probably had like a sub,
yeah, it was like Kimball Municipal, but it was a city county.
municipal.
Yeah, but, and then, other places, you see it both ways. I mean, you see a lot of municipals, but then you also just see a lot of their name something else that isn't even, related to the community, so, so it can kinda go either way, but I like the idea of calling it either Seward Community or Seward Municipal, and I think there's some connotation maybe when you talk about municipal facilities that maybe it's not quite up to par, when you hear about a muni track or something like that, you go, oh yeah, it's not very nice, so maybe community would be a better way to go, but, we could call it Plum Creek or something like that, but people aren't really gonna know what that is.
We do think it's important that it's, conveys the message that it is open to anyone that wants to come golf. And so, cause a lot, like Bruce said, we looked at other communities that have a name, like completely like a geographical name that has nothing to do with the city, the public, or the community or anything, and I think people would have to, unless you're from the area, you're gonna be like, well, this, you have to look it up. You probably have to look it up to see, okay, is this a private club? Is it privately owned but open to the public? Is this what is it exactly? And so, however it's conveyed, as long as it's conveyed in a way that people will understand that it's not private, it's, it's not exclusive. Any other thoughts? There's only 5 of you, I can stare you all down, so.
I like the Seward Community Golf Course.
Did
Not fancy, but it's, tells you what you need to know.
Augusta's already taken.
We could call it Augusta International. instead of Augusta
International.
National.
Bush wouldn't be
the
frowned upon.
Augusta County. I think as long as you take the country club part out of it, is a big key, so.
Yeah.
And have the word Seward in there. And community, and golf.
Was that what you meant? Is that what you're thinking there?
Seward and community. Golf course. That's the easiest route to go.
I name it Josh's, but then you'd have to stay as mayor.
Yeah. Well, that's not an option, so you can come up with something better.
You can
Minor
always,
greens.
you can always rename it later
Well, I
if
think,
somebody
yeah.
gives you land or something.
And that's what the pool, it is this municipal pool, but it also has a name, so that's always, a possibility as well. Do you wanna make a motion tonight, or did you wanna mull it over some? That's really up to you guys, what y'all wanna do.
Given that we don't have everybody here, I'd just assume wait.
Okay. You wanna formally table this, or do you just want me to move on?
I move the wheat table.
Table? Okay. We a motion to table, is there a second?
Second.
Alright, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
John, you make the motion.
Yeah.
Thank you. Voting in favor, Wilson, Camper, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carried.
And just on a side note, we, obviously, part of that is needed because we would need to change signs, so that's, and if you're familiar with the country club building or the clubhouse building, there is actually a sign in the brick. So we're gonna have to figure out something to do. The mold, you know, it's molded in the brick, so just keep that in mind, that there will be some expenses dealing with signage and, you know, I'm not sure how if you just cover it up or what, but just so you're aware of that, it's not as simple as just putting up a sign, there'll be some masonry work, so.
Neon.
Can I open a can of worms?
Probably not if it's not on this.
Well, it's related to the
Okay.
golf course. I mean, are we concerned at all with the fact that the street going in there is called Country Club Drive?
At this point, I guess, again, that'll be up to the council if you wanna, the things that, I mean, we're dealing with, that's like number 443. So I don't.
When we get to number 2, then I'll
Yeah,
start thinking
well,
about
when we get to 2 and
443.
3, I'll let you know.
We might be to 5.
We've thought about that as well, and I don't know, I mean, we can, after we get the naming finalized, we can consider whether that name is an appropriate name for that street, or if it's going to be 4 words, maybe we don't, you know, if it's too long, we don't have a green sign that's, you know, a yard long, but
At the same time, if you're getting rid of the country club thing, you probably wanna get rid of the
Yeah.
country club thing.
it just, what do you wanna,
Yeah,
alternative,
sure.
the alternative, so. Yeah, absolutely, and if you wanna be thinking about that as well, maybe when we come back with this on the agenda, that might be something to consider. Obviously, there would be the changing of all the addresses
Yeah,
on that
that's-
street, as well as this building itself, which, yeah, I don't know, yeah, there's not a lot of them, but just,
They may not wanna change the name.
obviously, that's a consideration as well, so just be thinking about that.
Northwest 8th Street.
That could be kind of a hassle,
Mhm.
just the addresses.
We did find out that the main sign is on private property, the main sign when you come in, so we're gonna tackle
Okay.
that.
Figure out how that's gonna work, because we'll at the very least need an easement, right, if not own it outright, so.
John's working on that.
All the many, like I said, there's a whole list of things we're working through, so. Okay, well, thank you on 9, then we'll go to number 10, city administrator's report.
I just have the report in your packet with some of the things that, you know, I'm working on, as well as the crews. We did get a earnest money check on another lot up at the cemetery, the building lots, not the regular lots, but the building lots. And we found out that, that they weren't priced properly. So we're repricing those, but we got 2 of them sold, so the prices will be going up. But I don't know how that happened, it happened last year. And so John and I are repricing those things, but we do have 2 of them sold. And I think there'll be probably more than after that. So that's going along well. And then just a reminder, next week is a special meeting on the 21st. Main thing on the agenda is the NPPD contract and the discussion on proposals for a new energy supplier. So that'll be the main issue on that agenda. And then the other thing, there will be one other thing, and that will be the financing of the golf course, because we will open the proposals this week on that.
Any questions or comments?
Just
Yes, Ed?
Bruce, on the lots up there on North Columbia, the revenues from the sale of those, does that go to the cemetery or to the general fund?
Well, it's for use by the cemetery. We'll use it to put the road in and stuff in the new area and things like that. So it will be used for improvements for the cemetery.
Any other questions or comments?
I move approval of the report.
We have a motion, is there a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilson, Camper, Fritz, Pike, Schmidt, motion carried.
Alright, thank you. item number 11, this is future request for council agenda items or administrative action. Seeing none. Item number 12, announcement of upcoming events. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring to the council's attention? If not, then I'll move on to our motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
To the motion and a second, suggest your vote. Please sway the votes.
In favor of Fritz Pike Schmidt, motion carries.
Thank you all, have a good night.